At this point in your driving instruction, you and your student will be venturing onto the roadway for the first time. But before you do, you'll need to practice backing in an empty parking lot. Backing can be difficult for new drivers. A common mistake they make is moving their foot to the accelerator too quickly and backing too fast. Begin by instructing your student to back as slowly as possible so they can get a feel for the braking in this situation. The proper order for pedal use when backing is to go from a controlled brake to covering the brake, then back to a controlled brake before lightly accelerating.
One of the first things Kim and I worked on was following distance. Initially, this exercise has the best results when the parent drives and allows the student to focus on determining appropriate following distances. Ask your student to identify a fixed object in your path of travel. This could be anything from a road sign to a bus stop. Have them start counting when they think you are 4 seconds away from the object. Repeat this exercise until your student has a firm grasp on how much space is needed for a following distance of 4 seconds. Once your teen is comfortable with this and being behind the wheel, have them repeat the exercise while determining the following distance between their car and the car in front of them. Proper following distance allows a driver to brake and steer out of potential problems ahead.
So your student is ready to hit the road, but you should avoid high speed and heavy traffic areas this early in their driving experience. Current tasks should be performed on low traffic, residential or rural roads. Now that you're ready, be sure to stress the importance of lane position and gradual acceleration as they pull onto the roadway. Tell your teen to visualize the lane position they want to occupy before they move into traffic, using the middle of the lane whenever possible. This will help prevent them from making too wide of a turn and decrease the chance of interfering with oncoming traffic. Guide them through a smooth, gradual acceleration and remind them that the car will begin moving forward once their foot is off the brake.
Lesson 2 of the main program provides you with an in-depth look at how to approach and proceed through intersections. However, there are some basic right-of-way rules that are often overlooked. Your students should know that they must be ready to yield anytime they see a vehicle not slowing to yield to them, regardless of who has the right-of-way. For example, if they're approaching a green light and notice cross traffic that might not stop at the red light, they need to yield to prevent a collision. Most accidents at intersections occur because of the failure to yield to oncoming traffic. If your student enters the left turn lane and the light is green without an arrow, remind them that they must yield to any oncoming traffic. When it's clear, they are free to make the turn. Tell your student that they should never wave another driver on at any intersection. If the car gets into an immediate accident, they could be held liable for waving them to go when it wasn't safe to do so. Also, if someone waves them on, they shouldn't go until they know it's clear.
Another good habit to stress to your teen is to leave space between the car and the car in front of them when stopped at an intersection. They should leave enough space that they can see the rear tires of the vehicle ahead of them touching the ground. This allows room to steer out of potential problems. Now, when teaching your teen how to make turns, the most important thing to stress is to look at the center of their path of travel and visualize how they want to be positioned after making the turn. It's just like you saw with entering the roadway. Your student must also know what to do when encountering multiple turn lanes. Too many people don't, and it's unsafe. When making a turn with multiple turn lanes, you have to stay in your lane the whole way through the turn. Otherwise, you'll cut off or collide with an unsuspecting driver.
New drivers often oversteer, so when you practice moving to a curb or the side of the road, explain that many maneuvers require only slight steering input. This explanation will also be useful when instructing your teen on lane positions. Have your student move from one lane position to another as you mention them. If you start in lane position 1, you could say move to lane position 2. Then have them move back to 1, and then to lane position 3, and then all the way over to lane position 2 again. But don't have them do it as quickly as I just did. Allow them to ease into it. Any variation of this would work. The exercise allows them to get comfortable with fine steering adjustments and more capable of maneuvering quickly and effectively if an obstacle appears in their lane. You should also perform the same type of exercise with speed adjustments, instructing your teen to decrease and increase their speed in response to their surroundings. As with every lesson, Practice and repeat the driving tasks in Lesson 2 before moving on. Your student must be comfortable with these tasks before entering heavier and faster traffic areas.